Hi friends, my name is krishnaakumalla. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss on noting charges. Who is going to incur the noting charges? Why noting charges have to be incurred? And how the noting charges are going to be recovered. These are the three important points we are going to discuss. Who is going to incur the noting charges? Why we need to incur the noting charges? And how are we going to recover the noting charges? These are the important 3 points we are going to discuss in this video. Without wasting much time, let us get into the subject. Okay. What is noting charges? Generally, what will happen? Let us say A sold goods to B for credit and he has drawn the bill on B. B also accepted. Then what will happen? Let us say this bill is meant for 3 months. Due date is 3 months. So A will go and present this bill to B after 3 months. A will go and present this bill to B for after 3 months. Suppose if the bill is dishonored, if the bill amount is not paid by B, what A is supposed to do? A is supposed to take legal action. Right? A is supposed to take legal action. But before getting into the legal action and the kind of discussion, what A need to make sure is, he should make sure that B is not going to defend himself that this bill is not accepted, this bill is not submitted properly. Tomorrow, if the legal action is being taken and B goes to the court and say, sorry, this bill was not submitted by A properly, hence I did not make the payment, then A will not have voice at all. That is the reason what A does is, he will appoint a person called a notary public. Notary public. What he will do? A will appoint notary public official. He is a public official. His name is notary public. So he will go to the notary public and he will give this bill to him and say, hey, Mr. Notary, can you go and approach B and request for the payment on behalf of me? For that, notary will charge some expenses. Notary will charge some expenses. Then what notary will do? Notary will go to B and say, Mr. B, you are supposed to pay this amount to A. So take this bill and make the payment. Suppose if the bill amount is not paid by B, notary will record that properly. He will record that properly and he will go back to A and tell him that, boss, I went and approached. He did not make the payment. And these are the reasons why he is not making the payment. All that information he will note down in a document and he will submit that document to A. That document will be the evidence for A tomorrow to go to court and take necessary actions. Then B cannot say bill was not submitted properly. Why? Because notary went and submitted the bill properly and be reluctant to pay. And he notified everything and he might take some acceptance also if possible from B, saying that yes, I'm in these circumstances, I'm not in a position to make the payment. Kind of, certification also he will take if required. And he will go back to A and say, I went and approached and this is the reason why he is not making the payment and this is documentation from my end. Then what A will do? A will pay necessary charges to notary public. A will pay necessary charges. What are those charges? Those charges are called noting charges. Those charges are called noting charges. A has to make the payment to notary. This is the amount for you for going and consulting B and making it as a document. So those charges are called noting charges. Are you clear so far now what is noting charges? Once the noting charges are paid by A, So what will happen? A, B and notary. I'm making it as N. So A went and approached the notary. Notary went and approached B, and B said no to make the payment. And notary came back to A and said, "This is the document I prepared for not making payment by your bride." So for that, A has to pay noting charges. A has to pay noting charges. Now the question is, who is going to pay noting charges? That's the question. So drawer is going to pay the noting charges. Drawer is going to pay the noting charges. On behalf of whom? He is going to pay these noting charges on behalf of B. So what does it mean? On behalf of B, if he is paying the payment, what does it mean? These noting charges, whatever incurred by A, has to be reimbursed by B. Has to be reimbursed by B. So what A will do? A will make the notary charges to notary on behalf of B. On behalf of B. So these noting charges will be recovered from B later point of time. Are you clear so far? So now we will take three scenarios and understand how the entries are supposed to be posted. Okay. Now what will happen? A, B, and notary, for example. Okay. Now A has to pay notary charges to N. Notary A has to pay noting charges to N on behalf of B. So what entry A will write? So he has to receive these noting charges from B. It is not an expenditure for him. Why? Because anyway he is going to recover this amount from B. So B account debit. Let us say 100 rupees noting charges he paid. 100 and bill amount was 10,000. Okay. So total put together, how much B has to pay? 10,100. So what he will do? 10,100 he will debit B. He will debit B to the extent of 10,100. And two, bills receivable. So bill is going out of him. Bills receivable 10,000. Bill is dishonored, right? So bill he has to give it to B. So bills receivable 10,000. And two, these charges are paid by him. So what is going out? Cash is going out. So to bank account 100 rupees. To bank account 100 rupees. So B has to pay 10,100 and the bill amount is 10,000 bills receivable credit and to bank account 100 rupees. This is what A will write. Are you clear? Now, what B will write? B is getting bills payable. Bills payable account debit 10,000 and he has to pay 100 rupees noting charges. That is an expenditure for him. So noting charges account debit 100 rupees and two, how much he has to pay to A? To A account 10,100. This is how B will write in his books. Bill is submitted to B for on the due date for payment, right? So bills receivable he has to pay. So bills receivable account is debit. Noting charges is an expenditure for him. All expenses and losses to be debited. Noting charges debit 100 rupees to A account 10,100. This is how the entry will be recorded. Let us say this bill is discounted. In that scenario, what do we do? A, B. Now, A went to bank and discounted the 10,000 rupees. That time bill got dishonored. Then what he will do? Banker will go to notary, or banker will go to bank through notary and ask for the payment. B said no. Then banker has incurred 100 rupees noting charges. Then what he will do? What are the entries we are supposed to write in A books? A has to pay amount to bank on behalf of B. Correct? A discounted the bill. So A has to pay this amount to bank on behalf of B. So what A will do? B account to debit 10,100 because 100 rupees noting charges paid by the bank to the notary. Right? So B account to debit 10,100 and he has to credit bank account 10,100. He has to receive 10,100 from B and he has to pay, sorry, he has to receive 10,100 from B, and he has to pay that amount to bank to the extent of 10,100. So B account debit to bank account is the entry will be written by A. What B will write? B will write bills payable account debit 10,000. Noting charges is an expenditure for him. So noting charges account debit 100 to A account 10,100. This is the entry B will write. Bills payable is being received by him. So bills payable is coming, so debit. And noting charges is an expenditure for him, so he is debiting noting charges. And 10,100 he has to pay to A, so to A account 10,100. Clear? Next. Suppose if the A and B, they endorsed bill to C. They endorsed bill to C. So C went to B through notary and requested for the payment. B was reluctant to pay. Then C has to pay notary charges, right? What C will write, what A will write, what B will write. That is what we are going to discuss now. What A will write? A will write, I have to receive this amount from B and I have to make this payment to C, right? B account debit. How much he has to receive? 10,100, because bill amount is 10,000 plus 100 rupees noting charges paid by C. So 10,100 from he has to receive from B. So B will become a debtor. So B account debit 10,100 and this amount has to be paid to C. So 10,100. This is in A books. This is in A books. What B will write? B books. He has received the bills payable account from C, right? 10,000. Noting charges is an expenditure for him. Noting charges account to debit 100 to A account 10,100. This is the entry B will write. Because bills payable is coming to him, that is worth 10,000. Noting charges is an expenditure for him. So noting charges is debited to the extent of 100 to A account. He has to pay this amount to A. So that is 10,100. Right? What C will write? What C will write? So C is giving bills receivable and he has to receive that amount from A. So he will debit A account. For how much? 10,100 he will debit A. He has to debit 10,100 and two bills receivable account. He is giving that bill to B. So bills receivable account to 10,000 and 100 rupees noting charges he paid. Cash is going out. That is bank account. To bank account 100 rupees. So this is the entry C will write his books of accounts. So this is how the noting charges are being recorded in the respective books. Are you clear? So that's all about noting charges. I hope you are now clear on the subject. Right? Thank you so much.